I'm very excited about this talk because I started this project of trying to use generative AI to migrate SQL Server to MySQL about 2 years ago when the AI and ChatGPT started booming in the market. So I wanted to make sure that we had something that we could apply, we could apply on our day-to-day basis. So I want to walk you through that process and what I've learned as far as prompt engineering. Before I start, I want to give you a little chance to see my background here so that I can gain a little credibility with you today. I've been on databases for my entire professional career. So I started with Oracle SQL Server, and then finally I met Philip Antoniadis, who's here, who opened my eyes to MySQL and invited me to join this amazing group. Thank you, Philip, for that. And yeah, so I will give you the code at the end of my slide so you can connect with me on LinkedIn at the end of the presentation. Here's a little bit of our agenda for today. I'm going to give you reasons why customers decide to move migrate data from SQL Server to MySQL. I'll talk a little bit about our Enterprise Edition on MySQL, and I want to jump on the live demo. So I'll be very quick and share some lessons learned and final thoughts with you at the end. Before I jump into the technical part, I want to make sure, as we're celebrating 30 years at MySQL, I wanted to share something that I personally believe here. I met some amazing people during my career, and I've learned a lot being passionate about MySQL. So I became a raving fan for MySQL a long time ago when I joined. And a raving fan for me is someone that not only likes the product, but believe on what we are trying to achieve on the market with the community, what we do for people, what we do with our teams. And I'm always amazed when I walk around and I'm crossing airport security, immigration, or I'm sitting in a coffee shop, have people coming to me saying, hey, you work for MySQL. I'm very happy that with your product helped me to start my company. Your product helped me to develop my career. And I often get that from the MySQL community. So with Philip leadership, I learned to become a raving fan builder. So I go around talking to MySQL users and my friends and the customers about MySQL. So that's something very personal for me, important, and I'm very happy that I met someone that introduced me to the concept of raving fan recently, and I'm embracing that to myself. Now, one of my first days at MySQL, I got access to one of our demo servers, the MySQL Monitor server. And the password we had was open source for life. And we used that password when we were still allowed to share password back in the days a lot. And that statement never left me. So I think wherever I went, talking to MySQL users and the communities and engage with open source, that really stays strong with me, and I still believe on it. So we no longer use this password, but I don't think this password will never leave me. So let's get into the topic here. So why migrate from SQL Server to MySQL? Here's what I hear from customers. Customers are trying to reduce cost, improve efficiency on their database or stack. They're trying to modernize, innovate. They also want to get better performance, scalability out of MySQL. And they want to keep the same security level or improve security level and meet compliance requirements. So if you look around this chart that I created, there's a lot of reasons what I hear from customers saying, this is why I need to move from SQL Server. Either it's a data center consolidation, either they got a new CTO that says, we're now going open source, we're now going MySQL, and we need to leave SQL Server behind, or any other technology. And they want to be, some of them are saying we want to avoid vendor lock-in, which is moving to MySQL, you're free to move around and you're not necessarily locked in into anything. The biggest reason, though, is cost savings, right? So that's the number one drive to say why we're doing this. So I see people saying, okay, if there's a huge cost savings, then it's worth doing it. So I did SQL Server, just like MySQL, we have different versions. What I did was I compared the Enterprise Edition of MySQL with the Enterprise Edition of SQL Server. And you can, as you can see on the slide, you can get up to 90% cost reduction. We actually have a calculator on our website, a TCL calculator. You can get the same numbers and the server's descriptions there, but I want to show you that you can achieve as much of 90% savings when you move. Now, why do people move to Enterprise Edition? I already alluded to the idea, but Enterprise Edition has features that will make SQL Server customers comfortable with MySQL, especially on security, performance, data masking. We have an enterprise backup tool. We have audit, firewall, transparent data encryption. So there's a set of tools and features that comes with MySQL Enterprise Edition that are very familiar to SQL Server users. So that's one of the main reasons for making sure that when you're moving, you're selecting a strong version of MySQL. I put this slide together to help anybody here that works with SQL Server to be able to relate to MySQL. So MySQL is written in C, C++. We serve OLAP and OLTP applications. It's still very easy to use, install, and learn. That's one of the biggest reasons people start with MySQL. But also you can find features that we have that are similar to the features on SQL Server. Like we have the joins, triggers, indexes. We support stored procedures. We have Windows functions like scheduler, Windows Active Directory. And very recently we add the stored programs, which act just like T-SQL on Microsoft SQL Server. And you can see we meet regulatory compliance with a lot of our features. We have integrations to JSON. We have a lot of connectors that are available. So MySQL is definitely a strong database and can very easily be used by any SQL Server user. So how did I go about the migration? So I wanted to get a database, a SQL Server database on Amazon. So I went on Amazon. I see a lot of customers running Amazon RDS. So I got a SQL Server on my own account on RDS. And it's running a popular database from SQL Server that's called AdventureWorks. And I started using AI, and I tested all the AIs possible. I tested Claude AI, ChatGPT. I tested DeepSeek. I tested everything as far as part of this project. We have a partner that's Cohere, and now Oracle also has a AI available that I'll show you. That's the Code Assist, which I'm using today. But basically, I want the AI to help me to understand what are the steps to migrate, help me creating the scripts to migrate, and then finally test it. So my goal was I want to write this all without having to write the code. I want to go through the logic, the prompt engineering, and I can guide the AI saying, this is what I want, this is what's not right, and how to fix it. So, and I'll get into the demo and show you what I got. But before, actually, one last thing. This is what one of my prompts look like. This is not supposed for you to read, but they become very large. Of course, I'm going back and forth with the AI building this, and I generated about 40,000 lines of code in a month and a half. Let me go in the demo. So here's my Visual Studio Code, as you can see, if you're familiar with this. So I have here my Python script that exports the schema on MySQL from SQL Server to MySQL, converts. This is another script that converts the data types. Here we're running a script to create tables from SQL Server on MySQL, exporting the data, finally importing the data, and then I have scripts, sorry about that. I have scripts here at the top. Let me see if I can move that here. To just to validate what we created. Like we have compatibility. I have scripts that I run to do data checks to make sure everything is in place. And if you look at the database section here, these are the two databases I had on SQL Server. And this one here is the one already migrated to Enterprise Edition. This is the database AdventureWorks. And you can see all the tables and the data here. And I can actually click on one of the tables, and you can see the data. It's all exported. So my goal was actually to get the data out and loaded. And then I started playing with moving some of the store procedures, because the data store procedures are the biggest part on the migration. There are other objects, but I don't think they're as complex as moving the data and the store procedures. Then we announced last year the store program, and I decided, okay, why don't we try to migrate a T-SQL type of store program into MySQL using JavaScript. And I'll show you how I did that. I actually have a blog that I've been posting the prompts. So you're welcome to go to my blog. It's Enrique Leandro. It's up there. But I can share with you on LinkedIn as well. You can get the code. You can get the prompt engineers or even the code here. So I'll just show you one example what I did. So this is an original SQL Server store procedure. Don't worry about reading the whole thing. So I'm just going to copy this and to show you how this works. So I'm copying that store procedure, and I'll go back to the idea of the prompt engineer. So I'll go back to the Oracle Code Assist. This is our AI, internal Oracle, and it's available on VS Code. So I can say, convert this stored procedure from SQL Server to MySQL. And I'll paste the entire procedure that I copied from the documentation on Microsoft. And that's what, hopefully the AI will start converting it for me, which is happening right there. And what I do from here is I'll take that code, go back on MySQL, test it. If I get an error, or if I get a result that is not what I'm looking for, I go back and forth with the AI saying, hey, you missed this, or missed that, and that's how I end up getting the code. Then what I did at the end, which I'll share with you, I created my own PHP server on my computer, and I said, I want to create a couple pages that I can validate the data. So I'll show you one, for instance, the store procedure. So this is an application that AI generated for me that reads the MySQL server and has all the data that I brought from AdventureWorks. And I can go on any of these divisions and just validate that I'm getting the same data as I was getting on SQL Server. So my server on AWS is down right now. I turned it off for the section, but I compared the data, and it was quite impressive because I got the same results and the application worked the same way. We did add telemetry to MySQL last year as well, and I played with telemetry too. So I used AI to create a dashboard to read my telemetry data on MySQL. So I even played with it and named it DataCat, but it's my own playground. So yeah, so I will make sure that you get access to my blog and slides as well. But let's just go back here so we can continue. So after I was done with this part, I went back to AI. I said, okay, I generate this many lines of code. What if one of my customers wants to go for this? How much time would they spend on this, right? So my question was like, if one of my customers have a junior developer trying to write the same amount of code I got, how long would that take? Same for a senior developer. As you can see, AI came back saying if you have a full-time junior developer, you're going to have someone working up to 2 years trying to generate this amount of code that I generated in a month and a half. And if it's a senior developer, someone working full-time will spend up to 8 months writing that code. Now, I was doing all this, and this is data when I started. We were still on the version of ChatGPT 3.0, and we're now on 4.5. There's a lot of advancement that happened, so and I keep up with that. I wanted to keep this for you because right now I feel like with the versions we have on AI and whatever it is that you're using, you're going to get the time into your development to a third of what I did. So you're probably getting the same amount of 40,000 lines a lot faster than I did when I started. A couple of things I learned from this is I had a lot of problems with code regression. So for instance, I would say export all the tables and schemas, and it would export and then it would miss something, right? And I would go back to AI saying, okay, you missed this table. And AI would tell me, okay, fine, there's a problem with that table. No problem, we're going to delete that table from the script. So the AI wanted to just solve the problem by deleting my data, deleting my tables, and deleting some of the objects. That's why I feel like you need to be in control of what AI is doing. You need to be able to read the code and guide the AI. Also, it tries to take shortcuts. Like I would say, use the MySQL shell utility to dump the information or load because it's fast. But the AI sometimes was lazy, was just trying to use the MySQL dump or use a long process of querying the table and exporting it to a file that would take hours to export and load. So I had to always guide the AI. And like I said, I faced a lot of code regression as well, because every time I said, fix this problem with the table, it would come back and change the whole code, and I would lose something that was already working. So it was a lot of back and forth. But like I said, right now I feel like you can get the same level of details with the new versions of the models we have, the more modern versions. And it's quite amazing, the quality of code that we get. Now, another point I want to make here is, which I learned from this experience, not all SQL Server databases are going to be good candidates for migration, right? So you have to realize that there are applications that users can't change. They're built on .NET. They're building for Microsoft. It's not easy to adjust. So migrations require some changes on the application. Even that application I showed you here with plotting a pie chart, the SQL from Microsoft SQL Server is not equally the same as the MySQL. The syntax is slightly different. So if you're not able to change the application code, you may not have a good candidate, or adjust the application code, you may not have a good candidate to migrate to MySQL. So I would say start with databases and applications you actually have control, and they're not yet a mission critical with a project like this. But I think as AI advances and we will have developers building tools around AIs to migrate, we'll get a lot more specialized migration tools to help us getting through one database to another. Like I said, I want to summarize a little bit of the benefits here of Enterprise Edition. So like I said, people come to MySQL because they want performance, they want to lower the cost, lower risk, and peace of mind with MySQL support. But at the same time, we do have a lot of users that build their business, like I said, around MySQL. They love MySQL, and they want to be involved in the community and continue to support us. One thing I want to bring up here on the talk is we have a team of solution engineers. We have a couple of them here in the room. Solution engineers, they are customers' trust advisors. So we work on understanding the problem and being the champion for customers inside of Oracle. So we talk to our engineers all the time, and we bring up requests from the field saying, hey, we need a new feature, we need to improve this. So make sure you connect with them, because they are your raving fans inside of Oracle. And we want you to continue to work with our team. And I want to invite all of you, if you're not, to become a raving fan of MySQL and join me here. Thank you.